Hey everybody, it's Chris Peters. We're going to do a video about formatting for lists and libraries in SharePoint. And we talked about this in the episode in the podcast. There's two methods for doing formatting. One is column formatting, and it really has to do with giving you the ability to change the color of the fonts that are in a column or the backgrounds in the column. Then there's another one called view formatting, which really applies to the row that's in your library in this example. So we're just going to run through both scenarios. So we're going to go to the document library and pull up one of our documents there and basically walk through the process. Should be a pretty fun episode. So we're going to start by going to our gear and get to the site contents so that we can get to the document library we're going to work in. And we'll use the documents library here. And if we just stop and look at this for a moment, we have content in here, documents, some folders. We have columns, name, category, primary contact, things like that. But the page is pretty much white background with this gray line separator, but nothing really special about the formatting. So now we're going to go ahead into one of these columns and we're going to play with the formatting for the column. And again, this is all out of the box SharePoint. So we click on our down arrow right here in this first column. We could do it to any of these columns. We'll just start with name. And in column settings, the first option is format this column. That's going to bring a panel open on the right hand side, and it knows it's the name column, and it's highlighting format the column, which means any formatting we do in this example is only going to apply to this column right here, this first one. After we do that, we'll show you a couple of variations of formatting the column, just to get you familiar with the interface and using this panel over here. After we do that, then we'll go to Format View, and a Format View has more to do with the row itself. So if you're trying to draw somebody's attention to certain columns or to certain rows in your list or library, then you'd be able to format certain colors that might catch people's attention. So let's go ahead and try it out. We're not going to put any special conditional rules on this. We're just going to do the straight formatting. And again, this is for the name column. So first thing we do here is we've got a default background color for the column. But if I go to this icon right here, I'm going to get more options for what I want to do. Change the color, which again is coloring the whole column. But more importantly, if you go to more styles here, you're going to get a lot of additional formatting options. So that's good to remember that this more styles link is here. Notice when I clicked on it, now I can play with the size of the fonts in my column right here. I can go bold, and notice I'm toggling back and forth as I apply or basically pull something back off. I can change the color of the text that's in the column and maybe make that bold. You can play with this to see what works best for you. I'll go back to my original size here. I still have a fill color menu I can use here, so I can continue to tweak how I want. And then there's some icons. Maybe you have certain documents that a particular icon is related to. Maybe you've got some email messages in the list or library, and you wanted to put a picture next to the items in this particular column. We just click on these. See how it opens up and puts something there. Now, if we were using the filtering to tell it only show this icon, in this case the envelope, for a particular content that's in the column, like in the name column where it says open folder or something like that, then I could tell it to only put this icon into one of these particular cells in the column. And again, I'm going to toggle off and on. That's how this works. You also can, again, play with your icon color. So if I had a little email envelope icon here and I wanted to show as blue, then I could go ahead and just pick blue and do it like that. So as you can see, a lot of freedom here to make your lists and libraries look a little more pretty, maybe more intuitive for your users. And again, we're still working in the column setup here. And then the last thing I'll talk to you about here is we can play with the borders. So if I like some nice lines in between each of these items in the column, I can do this. These are doubled because I'm asking for a double, which basically is trying to put one on the top and the bottom. Or I can select this single one here. That's a little bit cleaner. If I wanted to put some horizontal bars on it, I could. And you get the idea. So pretty handy. I'll leave this one off and we'll go with our single to put our line in here. I can control the thickness of these borders. And again, we're working just with the formatting for this particular column. And also, we can make that border be a different color too. So we're going to go ahead and save. And then when this basically shows up in the future, you're going to basically have a green background with a divider line in between items. And as you saw earlier, there's other things you can play around with in here. So that's pretty handy. So that's working on a column. Now let's take a look at looking at the row or the view formatting options that you've got. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to back up here a little bit. And now we're going to select Format View. That's the formatting again for the rows in this particular document library. So let's format the view. And again, we're not going to do any special conditional formatting. If we had content in certain rows that we want to call out with a certain color, background, divider line, we could do that by doing what's called manage a rule. In other words, give it some instructions before it applies the colors that you want. We can save this for part 2 of this type of discussion about formatting. So in this case, we're just going to click on conditional formatting here. And again, it's going to basically do what it did the first time. Its default is gray. So I do want to open our style box, but get directly into the more styles, because that's where most of the additional options are going to be there. And we'll just play around here like we did before. Let's make the text color black. And what you'll notice here, it does it to everything in the view. In other words, every row and then all the columns in the view. But it lets your name column that you just did formatting for the column stay the way we did before. And maybe we'll add our line to it. Play with the thickness a bit. And then we can also, again, get back to our fill color. And for this example, let's just go with the blue. We have our border styles here, border colors, like we did before. And again, you're going to play with these, kind of tweak them around a little bit, play with what the look and feel looks like for you. And then we're going to save this one too. And then we're going to come on out, close this panel, and we're going to refresh our page. So as you can see, we used column formatting. In this example, we went to Settings, Format the Column. Once that panel came up over on the right-hand side, we had the option to make the color background changes, font, size of the content, names and descriptions for what's in the actual column, but only for that particular column. So if I decided I wanted the primary contact to have special colors, maybe have it be gray for regular users and maybe a different color for managers, what we're trying to do is help the user visually use color and some of the other icons that are available to get to the information that they want to get to the fastest. So one last time, we're in a document library. We went into a column. We basically altered the formatting for that particular column in terms of the background color, divider lines, and the size and boldness, for example, as well as the color of the text that's in the column. Whereas in the format view, we wanted whatever we were doing, in our case, adding the line, putting a blue background, to apply to the whole row, basically all the rows, because we're not doing any special filtering configurations to make one row be a different color than another one based on the content that's in the row. But that is possible, and we'll do that on future videos too. That's about it. So let's go home. And we've been working mainly in a document library. The way we got to that library was going into the site contents, and in this case going to a particular document library that's in here, or we've applied our formatting to. That's going to do it. So let's get back to the home page. And that's it for now. Thanks a lot.